So, let's talk about trading in 2026. If you're in the market, artificial intelligence isn't some far off futuristic idea anymore. Nope, it's the new baseline. It's the essential tool that's completely changed the game, especially for us retail investors. We've moved way past just guesswork and gut feelings and into a world of pure data driven strategy.
And I'm not kidding. This isn't science fiction. We're talking about systems that can read, process, and actually understand information on a scale that is just, well, it's completely beyond what any human could ever do. This insane power to digest mountains of data is exactly why AI is no longer a nice to have, it's a need to have for anyone who's serious about trading. The big challenge for traders today isn't finding information. The problem is we're literally drowning in it. The markets move at the speed of light, and the amount of data coming at us is a problem that, let's be honest, people just can't solve on their own anymore. So, what is this data deluge we're talking about? It's so much more than just stock tickers flashing on a screen. The modern market is this giant interconnected web of information that's flowing nonstop, 24/7. And trying to keep up with it manually, it's like trying to drink from a fire hose. I mean, just look at this list. It's kind of crazy, right? We've gone so far beyond just reading SEC filings. Now, a winning trade can hinge on anything from crypto price feeds to on-chain analytics to the general vibe on a Reddit thread, or even wild stuff like satellite images of parking lots to see how busy a store is. Trying to pull all of that together by yourself, it's not just hard, it's literally impossible. This level of complexity is what demanded an AI solution. And that solution is AI. But, and this is important, it's not here to replace you. The best way to think about it is as your own personal quant co-pilot. It's the tool that helps you fly through all this complexity, turn all that noise into a clear signal, and maybe most importantly, it keeps our own human emotions, fear and greed, from crashing the plane. Now, this brings up a really crucial distinction. The AI we have today is not the same thing as old school algorithmic trading. Those old algos were rigid. They just followed a fixed set of if this happens, then do that rules. But modern AI, it's dynamic. It actually learns from how it performs. It adapts when market conditions change, and it can even rewrite its own rules to get better. It's a whole different ballgame. And this is where AI gives you a massive edge. We're talking about executing trades in milliseconds, making decisions based purely on logic, with zero fear or greed. It can watch the markets around the clock all over the world, and it never gets tired. It's not just about being faster. It's about being smarter, more disciplined, and working on a scale that is totally superhuman. So, how does an AI actually think about the market? Let's kind of decode its DNA. It really all boils down to three core techniques. Okay, first up, you've got natural language processing, or NLP. This is basically the AI's superpower of reading. It can sift through thousands of news articles, social media posts, you name it, understand the context, and then boil all that text down into a simple, tradable score. Was the CEO's tone on that earnings call confident, or was it a little shaky? The AI can actually quantify that feeling. Next up is machine learning. Think of this as the AI's pattern recognition brain. It uses these really advanced models, like transformers, which are amazing at understanding context, to analyze tons of historical price data. It's looking for complex patterns to try and forecast where prices might go, often spotting things way before a human eye ever could. And finally, we have reinforcement learning. Now, this is where things get really cool. This is where the AI becomes a student that literally teaches itself to trade. The AI agent will practice trading millions and millions of times in a simulated market. It gets rewarded for good trades and penalized for bad ones. And through all that trial and error, it learns and refines the best strategies all by itself. Okay, so let's walk through how this all comes together in the real world. First, the system automatically pulls in all the latest news and social media chatter about a stock. Then, an NLP agent reads all of it and spits out a sentiment score, say from -1 to +1. That score then gets combined with technical signals from a machine learning model. And finally, based on the rules you've set, the system either flags a potential trade for you to look at, or it just goes ahead and executes it automatically. Pretty amazing, right? And the best part? You don't have to be some quant genius at a massive hedge fund to use this stuff anymore. The toolkit available in 2026 is just packed with platforms that make AI trading accessible to pretty much everyone, whether you're a day trader or a long-term investor. Let's just take a quick peek at the ecosystem.
You've got platforms like Trade Ideas with its AI named Holly, which is like a scout that finds high probability trades for you. Then there's something like Composer, which is amazing. It lets you build trading strategies just using plain English, no coding required. TrendSpider automates all your technical analysis, and Tickeron is great at finding really complex chart patterns. Each tool kind of has its own special job.
And that specialization has led to this really powerful new idea, the agentic squad model. So instead of trying to find one single bot that does everything, you actually build a team of specialized AI agents. You might have one agent that just watches the news, another that only does chart analysis, and a third one that's dedicated to managing your risk. You're the manager, you're the one calling the shots and directing the overall strategy. Okay, but with all this incredible power comes some serious responsibility. AI is not a magic black box that just prints money. It's so important to understand the risks and to remember the critical role that you, the human trader, still play in all of this.
Which is a totally fair question, right? If these things are so smart and so powerful, what could possibly go wrong? Well, the answer is quite a lot, actually, if you're not paying attention. So let's break down the big risks.
So the biggest technical risk is something called overfitting. The best way to think about it is like a student who just memorizes the answers to last year's test. They'd ace that test, but they can't solve any new problems. The model looks amazing in backtesting, but then it completely falls apart in a live market. There's also bias, and here's a big one. AI can be totally blindsided by black swan events, things that are completely unpredictable. And on top of all that, regulators want answers. They're demanding more transparency, so you have to be able to explain why your AI made a particular trade.
And speaking of regulations, there's been a huge shift that has really opened the floodgates for a lot of people. The old pattern day trader rule is gone. That means smaller accounts can now trade much more actively. And because of that, having access to these powerful AI tools, which used to just be for the big funds, is more important than ever to get a competitive edge. And this really gets to the heart of it all. AI is not here to replace you. It is here to augment your skills, to supercharge your intuition, and to elevate your strategy. It does the heavy lifting, all the data crunching, and the fast execution, so that you can focus on the big picture. So your job really shifts from being a manual button pusher to being a strategic overseer. You're the one who defines the strategy. You're the one who does the intense backtesting before a single dollar is risked. You start small, and you always have the final say on risk. And you're constantly monitoring the AI's performance to make sure it's doing what you want it to do. At the end of the day, the human is still the one in charge. So the question in 2026 isn't if you should be using AI in your trading. It's how. In a market where a data-driven approach is just the price of admission, figuring out how to leverage these tools is the key to going from just being in the game to actually winning it. So how are you going to build your edge?